We have to educate the Jewish community and our children to have pride in who we are as a nation, who we are as Jews, who we are as Americans. It's missing. Children don't know how to answer questions about their own Jewish identity. When you have 30% of Jews in New York voting for somebody who advocates basically hatred of Jews or does not protect Jews, that's a problem with our education system. Secondly, how do we educate the world to the contributions of Jewish society wherever we've been? We have to be able to educate better. So education without question is a priority. Secondly, the safety and security of Jews around the globe is paramount. I'm proud to say that in this short time that since confirmation, we have agreements with Belgium that they're going to restore the funding for this, protecting the Jewish schools and the shuls. Armenia has been able to join and announced the willingness that they're going to join the IRA definitions. Excellent. Ireland, right now, you're not hearing any more talk about BDS. These are things that are victories diplomatically that we're able to do. Not everything is out there, but the administration has made it very clear that every tool in the arsenal is available, whether it be sanctions or whatever it is to help combat anti-Semitism.
Amazing. Thank you.
So we've got an Israeli-born rabbi who just got handed the keys to America's, quote, anti-Semitism czar position.
My name is Yehuda Kaploun, and I'm honored to be nominated for the important position of United States Special Envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism with the rank of ambassador.
And his first move is getting on stage at an Israeli-American Council event talking about using U.S. sanctions to shut down BDS conversations in Ireland. Yes, Ireland.
Ireland, right now, you're not hearing any more talk about BDS.
BDS stands for Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions. It's a Palestinian-led movement that started in 2005, basically saying, if governments won't pressure Israel over how disgusting of a nation it is, maybe economic pressure can. And boycotts are as American as it gets. The Boston Tea Party? That was a boycott. So if Ireland wants to boycott Israel, why is it the U.S. government's business? Why would we have a problem with it? Trump is supposedly protecting Americans from hate, which is already an absurd premise. But even setting that aside, this guy's first pitch isn't about protecting anyone here. It's about silencing political activism overseas that criticizes Israel. And there's a DOJ official sitting right there in the frame, looking like she just watched someone number 2 on the conference table. Harmeet Dhillon's face is doing all the talking. And what it's saying is, oh, we're just saying this part out loud now? His name is Yehuda Kaploun. The Senate confirmed him on December 18, 2025. Less than a month later, he's at the IAC National Summit in Florida. And this is what he's doing with his first big public appearance. Not talking about attacks on synagogues, not talking about violence against Jewish Americans. He's bragging about using American sanctions power to handle Israel's PR problems in other countries. Brand new envoy, barely a month into the job, already telling an Israeli-American advocacy crowd that shutting down political speech overseas is part of the mission. The official job is U.S. Special Envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism, a State Department gig with an international mandate that reports up to the Secretary of State. That's the Cliff Notes version. But when you watch Kaploun talk about sanctions like he's got Treasury on speed dial, it reads one of two ways. Either he's overselling for applause in a friendly room, or the pipeline between this envoy office and actual U.S. coercive power is a lot shorter than the org chart suggests. Neither option is great if you care about America's founding principles of free speech. Sanctions aren't just talk. In real life, that means Treasury and Office of Foreign Assets Control, actions, visa restrictions, executive branch designations. Formal levers that are supposed to operate under defined standards and interagency review. The envoy role can coordinate, can push, can advocate. It doesn't personally flip the sanctions switch. So when the guy talks like crushing BDS talk in Ireland is already in his toolkit, you have to ask whether he's just hyping himself up for the crowd or he actually has that kind of reach. And if he does, whose interests is he using it for? There's already reporting about U.S. lawmakers pushing Treasury to treat Ireland as a target for anti-boycott enforcement tied to Israel-related legislation. Section 999 stuff, potential penalties, compliance burdens, the whole playbook. So the "we'll use American leverage to manage overseas boycott politics" idea has a paper trail. It's not just some rabbi running his mouth. There's infrastructure behind this. Section 999 is part of the U.S. tax code that deals with international boycotts, specifically the Arab League boycott of Israel. It was added in 1976 as part of the Tax Reform Act. The basic idea is that if a U.S. company participates in or cooperates with an international boycott that the U.S. doesn't sanction, they lose certain tax benefits. They have to report boycott-related requests to the Treasury Department, and they can lose things like foreign tax credits and deferral of income from foreign subsidiaries. There's been push to expand or reinterpret this framework to go after BDS-related activity more broadly. The argument would be that Ireland participating in or encouraging boycotts of Israel could trigger Section 999 implications for U.S. companies operating there, or that the U.S. could use this as leverage to pressure Ireland on its BDS stance. What still needs pinning down is what specific Irish incident Kaploun is referring to when he claims he shut down BDS talk there. What sanctions mechanism does he mean? What actually happened versus what he's claiming credit for? Those details matter if anyone tries to wave this off as a clipped moment or exaggeration. But even without those specifics, the core dynamic is right there on camera. A newly installed U.S. official standing in front of an Israeli-American advocacy audience, bragging about using American government power to suppress political speech in foreign countries because that speech criticizes Israel. Harmeet Dhillon's face is doing a lot of work in this clip. She's not some random person in the crowd. She runs civil rights at DOJ. And her expression reads like disbelief, like, are we really doing this in public? Of course she agrees with the rabbi publicly, but her face cringed in the moment. If this speculative observation about her expression is accurate, she's a politician bending the knee to hold on to power. Harmeet might need to take some facial acting classes, because her face said what a lot of people are thinking. Did we just watch the U.S. government outsource a cabinet-adjacent position to Israeli interests? And it's so obvious that nobody's even pretending otherwise?
This is Index Red. No more games, no more masks, just the signal.